up, dude? So I'm going to take the grammar questions today from the practice test in the Specialized High School Student Handbook. Check it out. Read this sentence. During a nightly news segment about a cooking contest, a reporter talked to some people who did the best in the contest. Which of these is the most precise revision for the words, talk to some people who did the best in the contest? Okay, so we have conversed with some of the people who won the contest, spoke to the 3 contestants who did well, discussed the contest with some winners, interviewed the top 3 contestants. Okay, so we're talking about people, you got to go back to the original sentence to go, what do they really mean, right? They're being vague, but they're trying to say something. So it says, some people who did the best. So we're talking about the best of the people who are in the contest, right? So this is good, won the contest. Who did well? That's just as vague, if not more vague, than the people who did the best. So we know that B isn't correct. With some of the winners, that's very specific. Top 3 contestants, that's very specific. Okay, so what else? Talk to some people, right? That's very vague as well. Conversed with some of the people. That's actually just a more lengthy way to say the same thing. Talk to some people, you know? So that's not it. Discussed the contest with some of the winners. Yeah, I guess you are discussing the contest and then interviewed the top 3 contestants. Now, we're in between these two. Which one is more specific, discussing the contest or interviewing them, right? Well, discussing the contest can mean a lot of things. They're specifically interviewing, so that the answer is D. Okay, read this paragraph. I'm not going to read it out loud, so just pause the video and read it really quick, and then I want to get back to the answer. Okay. Which sentence should be revised to correct an inappropriate shift in verb tense? So all we need to be looking for is verb tense here, dudes. So when coal was used, okay, to heat homes, it frequently left a soot stain on the walls. Brothers, blah, 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 who owned. Notice how all these are past. We're starting to get a pattern here of cleaning products companies created a doughy substance to help people remove this soot. To help people, that's just the infinitive verb. Over time, a natural gas becomes more common. Okay, so this one is a little suspect already because it's not past tense. People had little need for soot cleaners, and the McVickers family company struggled. Okay, so these two verbs, this verb and this verb, are both in the same sentence, right? So this is kind of like a present tense, and this is past tense and past tense and past tense and past tense and past tense. So obviously we don't really need to switch up the verb tense midway, so that's why this one is incorrect. Sentence 3. Bang. All right, so the next one. Read this sentence. Go ahead and pause the video to read this if you need to. Which edit should be made in the sentence? Notice, comma. So are we going to be looking at verb tense or, pronouns? No, we're just going to be looking at commas, which means sentence structure. Yeah. So the animal shelter, comma, which is located on Midway Street, comma, is looking for volunteers to help with a variety of tasks. All right, so let's just look at that. So the animal shelter, and we have comma surrounding which is located on Midway Street. That's actually good to go because this is a modifier describing what the animal shelter is, and it is a non-essential modifier. Yeah, so is looking for some volunteers. Notice it's embedded in the middle of an independent sentence, right? So then we have such as, variety of tasks, comma, such as walking dogs, cleaning kennels, comma, hand-feeding newborn kittens, comma, and supporting the pet adoption process. So if you haven't noticed already, this sentence is ending on a list, right? We have walking dogs, cleaning kennels, hand-feeding newborn kittens, supporting the pet adoption process. This right now reads that this list item is walking dogs, cleaning kennels. And I'm pretty sure that the walking dogs don't clean the kennels. So you need a comma to separate these two items of a list, just like the other items of the list are separated with commas. So that is our answer here. Bang. 3 more, homies. So read these sentences. Flyby missions near Jupiter have been happening since 1973. Flyby missions allow scientists to collect data about Jupiter and its moons. Notice they're asking, actually really quickly, what is the best way to combine these sentences to clarify the relationship between the ideas? Notice that both main subjects of the sentence are flyby missions and flyby missions, yeah? So we don't really need to say them twice. That's actually kind of repetitious. So let's see the best way to combine them. I would take a second to read these answer choices because I'm just going to break them down. Flyby missions near Jupiter, comma, which allow scientists to collect data about the planet and its moons, comma, have been happening since 1973. This is very similar to the non-essential modifier we were talking about in the previous page. This one's pretty good. I'm going to keep my eye on E. Although there have been flyby missions near Jupiter since 1973, they have allowed scientists to collect data about the planet and its moons. That although is kind of a weird connection because this isn't really opposites, right? So that doesn't work. Flyby missions near Jupiter allow scientists to collect data about the planet and its moons, comma, which have been happening since 1973. So here we also have a modifier that ends the sentence, so it ends with a period instead of a comma, right? And notice what the noun next to it is. Moons. So it makes it seem like the moons have been happening since 1973. That is actually incorrect because of that. Since 1973, flyby missions have been happening near Jupiter, comma, but they allow scientists to collect data about the planets and its moons. Is this a but? Do we really need it? Is this part of the sentence opposite from this part of the sentence? No. Awesome. And notice how even though I thought I had the right answer, I checked all the other ones just in case. Read this paragraph. Go ahead and read it. Pause the video if you need to. I'm going to go over it. So notice how with our nouns here too, we're trying to correct a vague pronoun. So that means that we need to look at the pronouns and the nouns very specifically. Here are our nouns. Eliza and Brianna have been singing in their school. Here's a pronoun. Since they were in the 4th grade, the girls always sing a duet at the school talent show, and they take turns singing the national anthem before school sporting events. Outside of school, she also sings in a choir. Okay, so which one? Is it Eliza or Brianna? We don't know. It just switched to she all of a sudden instead of there and they and they. So this is the problem here. It needs to specify which girl it is. Sentence 3. Okay, number 6. In 1962, the agile, athletic Wilt Chamberlain became the first and only professional basketball player in the United States to score 100 points in a single game. That is ridiculous. Okay, so let's talk about this sentence and see where a comma needs to go. Look at comma, 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 comma. So we're dealing with sentence structure. In 1962, the agile athletic Wilt Chamberlain became the first and only professional basketball player in the United States to score 100 points in a single game. This whole thing is just an independent clause. Crazy, right? So let's see where this comma goes. If we're not dealing with dependent, independent, or non-essential modifiers, let's check it out. Insert a comma after agile. So they're trying to put a comma between agile and athletic. Now, both of these are adjectives. And do you guys remember the rules for where the comma goes between two adjectives? There's 2 rules. You have to be able to flip the adjective, and you have to be able to put the word and in between. So if I said the athletic agile Wilt Chamberlain, that sounds pretty decent. And the agile and athletic Wilt Chamberlain, that sounds pretty decent too. So this does require a comma. So I'm going to keep my eye on E just to make sure. Insert a comma after Chamberlain. In 1962, the agile athletic Wilt Chamberlain, comma. That's very weird. That's not like why put a comma between the noun and the verb of the sentence? That doesn't really work. So no. Insert a comma after only. Became the first and only, comma, professional basketball player. That's not necessarily. I actually wouldn't even know why you would put that. That just seems like a very kind of a wrong answer choice. There's no sentence structure because this is all one independent thing. There's no real modifiers in here either. Insert a comma after states. The only professional basketball player in the United States, comma, to score 100 points in a single game. That would try to make this a non-essential modifier, but it's extremely important to the sentence because it's talking that he's the first and only player to do this. So we definitely need it. It's definitely essential. So I would not separate it with a comma. E is our answer. Okay, dudes. So that is how you can go through the grammar section. That's how the test will be starting. Keep in mind, the test is changing this year, so stay on your toes, and I will, of course, keep you updated with the latest information as soon as we know it. Good luck, guys.